What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. So today's video is going to be talking about the migration patterns within the United States, basically where people are moving to and where they are moving from. So where I have the top 10 cities of net inflow or the most inbound moves, and then the opposite, we have the top 10 cities of net outflow or where people are moving from. So this is a very interesting article. I'm gonna make this video short and sweet, just talking about kind of the migration patterns on what we're seeing. All this information is from the Redfin Data Center. I have been really liking the Redfin Data Center lately. They have really interesting articles and they have very up-to-date information. What we're gonna be looking through right now is actually the net inflow and outflow from January 23 to March of 23. So it's very updated information right here. I will try to remember to link it down below, but it's a very interesting article, this whole section right here. Top 10 areas people are moving to January 23 to March of 23, net inflow. So the number one city we're seeing people move to as of 2023 or this year so far is Miami, Florida, net inflow of 8,600 people, followed by Phoenix, Arizona. We have Las Vegas, Nevada. We have a lot of Florida right here, Tampa, Orlando. We have Sacramento, California, which I assume is a lot of people just moving from more expensive cities in California to Sacramento. Like we're seeing San Francisco and Los Angeles being actually in the top 10 for outbound moves, just because a lot of it is from the pandemic, where a lot of people can now work remote full time. They're able to live wherever they want, work for wherever they want, so work from wherever they want. So they're looking for more competitively priced homes and just better weather. Like people go to these certain destinations. Sometimes they had to for work. They had to go into office work and they weren't necessarily a fan of where they actually live, but now they can truly have the freedom to choose wherever they want to live. So we're seeing a lot of people move to the Sun Belt states, which it'll talk about later in this article. But yeah, Sacramento, Florida. Florida seems to be like the number one state if I had to guess here. Phoenix, I know, or Arizona as a whole. We don't really have, like, besides Phoenix, Arizona, like the greater Phoenix area, we don't really have a whole lot. We have like Tucson, Flagstaff, and stuff like that, but it's mainly the Phoenix metro area that's holding everything up. Then we have the bottom of the list here, but still top 10. We have a couple, Texas, we have Dallas and Houston right here, and then outbound moves. So we have 31,000 net outflow, but granted, San Francisco is a pretty heavily, densely populated city, so it's all relative percentage-wise. San Fran, we have New York, we have California, we have Washington, D.C., we have Massachusetts, so we're seeing a lot of Northeast, those very expensive places to live. And then we have a Kentucky, which is really interesting, kind of like out of the ordinary here. Seattle, Washington, which is also a very expensive place to live. Chicago, Illinois, Denver, Colorado, which is very interesting as well, and then Hartford, Connecticut. We're also seeing like a lot of these cities right here. We're seeing a lot of big companies starting to migrate out here as well. Like for Arizona, we're having a lot of massive tech companies start to build out here. We have a huge, I think it's Taiwan chip that's building out here. We have Intel building out even more out here. I believe we have a couple Amazon hubs getting built out here. We have a ton of industrial going up. So a lot of big companies too are moving to places that are a little bit cheaper, that have a little bit more land. People are just trying to get ahead of that, really, because I can see, like, from my perspective, living in Phoenix, I can see Phoenix getting just more and more expensive as time goes on. Just the amount of people that are moving here, the amount of things that are getting built, the amount of companies that are coming here. It's going to be pretty expensive to live here soon. And then people are obviously down the road potentially migrate elsewhere. So it's very interesting. And then we're going to go down to another article right here. It's basically talks about the same thing, but I found this a little bit more interesting as well. It breaks down. Here's what I wanted to show you right here. There's just a paragraph right here. While homes in these places cost considerably more than the pre-pandemic, what they're referring to is places like a lot of the net inflows, like places like Phoenix and Las Vegas and Miami, Florida. They are considerably more expensive than what they were pre-pandemic. They still remain comparatively affordable compared to where people are moving from. The typical home in most popular destinations is less expensive than the home in the top origin states or origin cities, which is where they are moving from. The typical Miami home sold for $485,000 in February compared with $640,000 in New York, the most common origin for home buyers looking to move in. And the typical Phoenix home sold for $425,000 compared with $710,000 from Seattle, Washington. Now this will make a little bit more sense when you actually look at this graph down here. What they're referring to is they're like comparing Miami, Florida. The average price was $485,000. They're comparing it to where most people are moving moving from. So they're comparing it to New York, which is the biggest origin state or city from where people are moving to Miami. So they're comparing right here $640,000 average house in New York to $485 in Florida, because that's where a lot of people are moving from. And same with Phoenix, Arizona. They're comparing Seattle, Washington at $710,000 for an average house to $425,000 in Phoenix, Arizona. So this is like just the same exact graph, but it adds where a lot of their origins come from, which is cool. So top out-of-state origins, a lot of people are moving from Los Angeles to Nevada. A lot of people are moving from Chicago to Sacramento. Now, what's interesting, if you guys will notice, pretty much wherever they're moving, like they're going to stay on whatever coast they're on. So we're seeing a lot of East Coast stay on the East Coast, but just move to the Sun Belt. So we're seeing a lot of New York and Chicago move down to Florida, but they're staying on the East Coast. Really, the only like cross country we're seeing is people moving from Chicago, Illinois to Sacramento, California, but pretty much everything else like is New York to Florida, staying on the East Coast, Chicago to Florida, staying on the East Coast. We have a Los Angeles to Dallas, which is interesting. We have more Chicago going down to Florida. We have New York going to Texas, which is just, it's fascinating to me. It's just so interesting to see like where people are moving to and like why they're moving there. But then yeah, Seattle, Washington's very big for Phoenix, Arizona. And then you go down here to for net outflow. We have a lot of Pacific Northwest. We have Washington. We have Portland, Oregon. We have a lot of the coastal California, Los Angeles specifically, Sacramento, California. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I want to wrap up this video. Yeah, let's make this just a quick little video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you guys are looking to move to Arizona, I am a licensed real estate agent. That is what I do full time. So if you, maybe it's not you, maybe it's a friend, family member, anyone, a coworker that you know is moving down to Arizona and they're looking for a place to buy or sell, put me in touch with them, guys. I would really appreciate it. It means a lot. This is how I generate all of my business. So if you guys ever, like in the future too, or just even a slight chance you guys are looking to buy or sell in Arizona, I'd love to talk to you guys. You guys can message me on Instagram. I respond on there every single day. Or if you don't have Instagram, shoot me an email. All that information is down below. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram. I post on there daily as well. You guys can stay more up to date. And I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching, and be sure to drop a